Hey, this is Mark Rodriguez,
Johnny Rodriguez,
and you're watching the Video Game Masters. And this is our 10th anniversary episode. This is so awesome. We actually started out with Video Game Masters 09 in 2009, and now it's 2019. So yes, across different channels, this has been 10 years of YouTube, 10 years of Video Game Masters. So for this special episode, the real question is, what game is worth talking about in this 10th anniversary special?
How about Clay Fighters?
You really want to waste our 10th anniversary special talking about Clay Fighters?
Oh, how about TMNT?
Oh, that old turtle game for Nintendo, the super hard one?
Yeah.
Oh god, we've already kind of covered it like a little bit. We were talking about the Turtle arcade game, and yeah, like the 10th anniversary episode for that one, like no.
Oh, I know. How about Street Fighter?
Hey, that's a good idea. You can never go wrong with Street Fighter. And you know what? We never talked about the original Street Fighter, the real one, the first one. So we talked about like Street Fighter 2, 4, 5, the Alpha games and stuff like that, but we never talked about the real Street Fighter. I'm talking about Street Fighter 1, baby, the original. So yeah, that's an awesome idea, bro. So for today's episode, the 10th anniversary special, we're going to talk about the first and original Street Fighter.
And you were complaining about Clay Fighters.
Let's check it out. The original Street Fighter hit the arcades in 1987. The first version of the arcade cabinet had two large buttons, one for the punches and one for the kicks. So you can do weak, medium, and strong attacks depending on how hard you push these buttons. The joystick let the characters jump, block, duck, and do forward and backward flips, which of course is stuff we're used to nowadays, but it was very new at that particular time. Later on, future arcade cabinets would have the more familiar 6-button layout that we're more used to. The story is basically Ryu, or Ken, entering the Street Fighter tournament and fighting several opponents so they can become the champion.
Since this was the first game, the only character you could select was Ryu. If someone else challenged you, they would automatically be Ken. The only way to play as Ken is if the second player wins the match and continues playing the game as Ken.
You start off from choosing to fight between either in the US or in Japan. In the US, you fight against Joe, who is an actual Street Fighter, and Mike, the boxer, who's based on a certain someone I'm sure we all know. In Japan, you fight against Retsu, the Kenpo master, and Geki, the ninja that warps all over the place. Then, you can go to England, where you fight against Birdie, the large street punk, and Eagle, who fights with clubs. In China, you fight against Lee, who uses Chinese boxing, and Gen, the aged assassin. After you beat everyone, you go to Thailand, where you face Adon, the Muay Thai master, whose skills are only second to the tournament champion himself, Sagat. Take down Sagat to take his title and become the champion. The game laid down the groundwork for future fighting games and also has, of course, the secret special moves. Ryu and Ken can shoot fireballs, use hurricane kicks, and the dragon punch. And at the time, due to the controls and the fact that these moves actually were secret, they were very difficult to pull off, and they also dealt an insane amount of damage if they connected. You could literally end the fight with a well-placed dragon punch. You also have bonus stages in between rounds, which consisted in chopping down these tiles with precise timing, or hitting these targets before time ran out. Street Fighter would make its way to several consoles. The most noticeable one was the TurboGrafx-16 CD, which was called Fighting Street for some reason. I never really found out why it was called Fighting Street, but it did have improved remix music. And actually, it was very, very close to the arcade. Street Fighter would also be released for the Capcom Classics Collection 2 for the PS2, and the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection for the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch, which is of course the version we're using today for all the game footage.
Later on, Capcom would try several times to make some sort of sequel to Street Fighter. We had Street Fighter 89, which would later become Final Fight. Then we had Street Fighter 2010 for the NES, which really had nothing to do with Street Fighter. It was this guy fighting mutants and monsters in the future. The American version was trying to make this work by calling the hero Ken. As if the same Ken from Street Fighter was now a cyborg scientist in the future. I don't really remember all these monsters running around back in 2010. I must have missed that.
Thanks to the Alpha series, you would see the return of some of the classic characters like Adon, Gen, and Birdie, and some of them would even return in games as new as Street Fighter V. Eagle would also be included in Capcom vs. SNK 2 and later versions of Street Fighter Alpha 3. Alright, now as for Street Fighter 1 in itself, it's kind of hard to review the game honestly and impartially because come on, it's an old game from 1987, and back then like we didn't know what a real fighting game was, like how it's supposed to be and the controls and stuff like that, you know. And, you know, what can I say, the graphics were very basic, music was kind of so-so, the controls were horrible, back then the fireballs and stuff were like super hidden moves that like not many people knew about them, and to be honest, like, I really never saw Street Fighter 1 in the arcades. They came out during the era, they were still playing Pac-Man and Dig Dug, and are you okay there, bro?
What the hell are we doing here? How do we ended up here?
Hey, this is the 10th anniversary special. This is the Westgate Hotel. We got this hotel booked to review Street Fighter 1, so we gotta make it special. So anyways, bottom line, the game is not that good of a game, but it's still Street Fighter 1, and, you know, we can't really compare it with anything from today. Because I believe, and I'm going to get some flack for this, that even Art Fighting 1 and Fatal Fury 1, that were also simplistic in their own right, are probably a bit better than Street Fighter 1. But of course, Street Fighter does have like a big legacy and everything, and it continues on to this day. So we're going to talk about our favorite games and our favorite characters from the Street Fighter series. You want to start it off, Johnny?
Okay, well, I think maybe I'll just keep it simple, like just the top 3 picks. Okay, so obviously the Ryu and Ken, because you can never have a fighting game without a character that does the fireball, helicopter kick, and uppercut combo, you know, very basic, very easy to use. Chun-Li, because she's like the first girl fighting in the game, you know, in the fighting game period in that time, and, you know, she actually kicks ass, like she has really good moves. And then a third character, I would like to say maybe the cheesy bosses like M. Bison or Vega, people like that, because it's like, who doesn't like the good cheats?
Mm-hmm. What about your favorite Street Fighter games, though?
Favorite Street Fighter game? Well, I think Turbo was kind of weird. I think Street Fighter Championship Edition was pretty good because it's kind of like the first Street Fighter 2, but you could unlock the bosses. And then I also liked the Super Street Fighter series because it kind of made it a little different here and there, adding new characters like TJ, Cammy, Fei Long. You know, it's pretty cool. I like Street Fighter Alpha 3. I think that one did change a lot because even though, you know, you wanted to move forward, because come on now, it's kind of going backwards, but the game itself feels like it's forward-ish because you have all these systems, and, you know, the custom combo from Street Fighter Alpha, and I don't know, the characters just look more like an anime style, and people are, you know, characters laughing, oh, like it's just more stuff going on, and the game looks really crazy. Blanca got crazy in this game, and he got super cartoony. You know, so I like that aspect of the game.
Yeah, and for me, it's kind of hard to also play like a favorite character. Of course, I'm also gonna love Ryu and Ken. Of course, Chun-Li, same thing, first fighting female in a fighting game, and she's a cop, and her tragic backstory with Bison killing her father and all that stuff. Of course, Bison's always gonna be cool. He's like the ultimate bad guy. I just hope that future games kind of move on from him because they keep bringing him back, or they keep making excuses, because by Street Fighter 3, Bison is supposed to be gone, but he keep making excuses like, oh, well, this game takes place before Street Fighter 3, and this game takes place like after Street Fighter 4, but before Street Fighter 3. They keep doing like things, and I hope that when we get to Street Fighter 6, like, well, I don't know, they're not gonna get rid of Bison. I think what they're gonna do is that they're gonna make Bison work together with Gil or some junk like that. Just any excuse to keep Bison in the storyline because they just love Bison so much. But yeah, Bison is cool, you know. And of course, Cammy is super awesome. And, you know, those are the cool characters. Sakura, Karen, Elena from Street Fighter 3, those are all pretty awesome. I do have to say, in terms of the games, I always loved classic Street Fighter 2, Champion Edition, and, you know, not so much Turbo maybe, because it was kind of crazy fast. I don't think the home versions were that bad, the arcade was kind of crazy fast. And of course Super Street Fighter 2 and Turbo and things like that. I'll always love the Alpha series, but mostly Street Fighter Alpha 3, because Street Fighter Alpha 3 felt more like a real game, like a more separate game, because Alpha 1 was lacking. Part 2 almost felt like, I guess, a modern day Street Fighter 2, but Street Fighter Alpha 3 was just different with the juggling and all the moves and all the different isms. Street Fighter 4, our show basically started with Street Fighter 4, like that whole era of Street Fighter 4. So, yeah, we're kind of used to that. So I always have a good spot for Street Fighter 4. And my characters were Sakura and Balrog for Street Fighter 4. And Street Fighter 5, I'm getting into it, maybe kind of late. But yeah, Street Fighter 5, I'll always love Cammy, Laura, Karen, Birdie, Abigail, Super Giant Abusing Guy, Abigail Punch, and all that. So yeah, those are my favorite characters. But for this special anniversary episode, let's also take a look at all our other video game masters and other people that have appeared on the show throughout the history to see what their favorite characters are from Street Fighter and what Street Fighter games are also their favorites. Let's check it out.
Check it out.
Hey folks, it's Brian here from Another Terrible Idea. Just want to say thanks to all you guys for watching the Video Game Masters for the past 10 years or so. I first started watching Mark and Johnny's videos probably a year or so after they got started, and we started first interacting after, I think, 2011-ish. They had a thing where they were requesting top 5 moments from the channel from fans and such. And I did a response video, talked through some stuff, and because of that, Mark, Johnny, and I, even I think Sweet Pete, every now and again, we started talking a little bit. And over the years, we got to be friends, and so that's why I do what I do here, doing videos with them and such. It's been cool working with the guys. I appreciate the patience and kindness they've extended to me. I've enjoyed working with them, and I wish them very well over the next however long they choose to continue doing videos. While we're here, Mark had asked if I could reminisce a little bit and talk about my favorite Street Fighter game. And for me, I can't pick just one, but I can narrow it down a little bit. First off, I guess it's probably going to be Super Street Fighter 2 back on the SNES. My brother and I purchased whatever Super Nintendo versions of Street Fighter we could get. I think the original Street Fighter 2 was probably the first Super Nintendo game we played, even before Super Mario World. We bought them at the same time, and we popped Street Fighter in right away. We used to have little mini tournaments with the neighborhood kids and stuff. I loved the updated art style. I loved the intro animation of Ryu, charging up, throwing the fireball and stuff. It was great. The 4 new characters were fun. At the time, that still felt kind of cool to have 4 new characters. It felt still like a new game without tossing out the old. All the changes that Capcom made were cool with us, and we were glad to have a better version of what was already our favorite game. As time went on, we moved into the PlayStation era, the PS2, Dreamcast. Dreamcast was a great system for fighters. And during that era, my brother kind of went over towards Street Fighter 3. And I went the other direction. I went with the Alpha series. A lot of people will point to Alpha 2 as their favorite, but for me it was Alpha 3. I had it on the PlayStation. And the huge roster, the more cartoonish anime style sprites, like Bison with the huge round shoulders and stuff. Blanca looked great. Cammy in her Shadow Lu outfit. It was the game where I first really started to play Sakura, who is still who I favor in Street Fighter. So it was just a great game at a great time. I think I was a sophomore in college maybe when I had that on the PlayStation. So you had a lot of free time to play. Living in the dorms, you had a lot of easy access to opponents, without having to go online and stuff. People would just be popping in and playing all the time. Great game, just beautiful graphics, and one of my favorites. And probably the last, and maybe my favorite overall, is the Street Fighter 4 series, from vanilla up through, I guess, Ultra. It's the one that got me back into Street Fighter. I hadn't played many fighting games since Alpha 3. I played, MVC2 on the Dreamcast. I played Soul Calibur and Soul Calibur 2. I think I had that on the GameCube and Xbox eventually. But I wasn't playing a lot. It wasn't the same. I played games like, again, Marvelous Capcom 2 and Soul Calibur 2. But Street Fighter 4 on the 360, it changed the game. It brought the game back. Street Fighter became the marquee fighting game for a generation. It reinvigorated the fighting genre as a whole and served as its anchor for, what, 5-6 years. I actually switched over from the Microsoft platforms back to PlayStation for the first time since the original, specifically for Street Fighter V, and was sorely disappointed. I still don't care for Street Fighter V, and I would just rather be playing Street Fighter 4. I grew to love the style. It kind of took me a minute, but I liked the style. The character roster was huge and varied. It was just a great game, and the online play for me was smooth as silk. Great access to players from around the world, and because of the growth of YouTube and such, the game which kind of allowed me to connect with the larger fighting game community, which was a really cool experience. So, anyways, thanks for watching Video Game Masters. Mark, Johnny, Rocky Armas, Sweet Pete, Landmore, Gurex, Dolly, Pika Chica, the whole gang. Thanks for letting me be a part of the fun. Everybody, I look forward to what comes next. Peace, and as I said before, long live the purple bar.
So, Mark wanted to know my favorite Street Fighter game. Well, let's see. My favorite Street Fighter game is probably Street Fighter Alpha 2. I think the mechanics, the speed, the graphics at the time were top-notch, as well as it's just such a great replayable game that I could just pick it up anytime. If I'm ever at an old school convention that has a classic arcade section and Alpha 2 or any of the Alpha series really are up, I'll always choose to play those games because they're just so much more fluid than the basic Street Fighter games. At least the previous 3. 4 was okay. Super 4 was where it got better. But if I had to pick one character who, in my opinion, is my personal favorite, it would have to be Charlie. Because he takes the concepts of the Ryu character, Ken, and all them, as well as the majority of Guile, which Guile is great, but he has some clunky problems in the original games. So when Charlie was introduced, I loved him immediately. But Charlie is my absolute favorite Street Fighter character, but a close second is always going to be Sakura. I love Sakura, and those are my picks.
Hey guys, this is Wicca Darko here. Just letting you know on my top Street Fighter games is Street Fighter 2 and also Capcom vs. Street Fighter. I love Chun-Li right here, and then Ryu. Who doesn't love those two at the start? The reason being is because who doesn't love the woman at the start of it that can kick everybody's butt? And Ryu, who's the hottest little firecracker there is to the game when teaching everybody else what to do for life. Alright, that is it for my gameplay. How about you?
Hi everybody, Pika Chica here. Thank you for watching Video Game Masters for 10 years. Yay! So my favorite video game, actually Street Fighter, character is Cammy. And also I actually like all the games of Street Fighter, even Turbo. That was fun as well. So hopefully you guys keep continuing on for the next so many years. So watch us again. Bye bye!
Thank you for watching the Video Game Master for 10 years. I know you only watch because of me. Anyways, my favorite Street Fighter game would have to be the Road Warrior on the SNES. And my favorite character is Chun-Li because of them thighs.
Hi, I'm Rocky Armas. I want to thank you everybody for watching us for 10 years. What comes to the favorite Street Fighter game ever, it is Street Fighter EX2 Plus. The reason for this is, or the main reason is the nostalgia, because I had so much good times what come to playing this game, and it is one of the games that I have played most in the series. It is also one of really good fighting game from the favorite era of mine what comes to the gaming, and also it has one of my favorite arenas ever, which is the Sunset arena with a really cool theme music. One of my favorite Street Fighter character in the series is Kairi from Street Fighter EX2 Plus. I like his selection of special moves, and he just looks so cool and badass. Another favorite character in the series is Sakura. I really do like her selection of the special moves like Hadouken and Shoryuken, and I really like her version of the Shoryuken because it has more power and feel in it, thus just always satisfying to use, and especially when it hits. I also really like her energetic and happy personality, and kind of like nice to have this non-serious character in the series. She's just a schoolgirl who likes street fighting, so that's always welcome in fighting games. And lastly, we have Cammy here. She's also one of my favorite ones in the series. I also like her set of special moves, even though she doesn't have a range attack. And I also like that because she's one of those very speed type of fighters. I also like her personality, backstory, the look and the design.
Hey guys, this is the Fish Hunter. My favorite Street Fighter games are the Street Fighter Alpha series and the classic Street Fighter. I used to play it every day after school. I like to use Blanka the most. I like Gaia more, but I will still play more as Blanka. Whenever I felt the pressure on my opponents, I would mash the buttons and use his electric attack. It was also easier to destroy the car in the bonus stage that way. But I like the moves of Gaia a little more, and his army look. The bosses were tough. I remember Barrow with his strong punches and Vega jumping all over the place, and when I finally got the Bison, it was a total disaster, but I would still won. I also liked the Street Fighter Alpha games, and my favorite character there was Charlie. He took the place of Gaio, but I liked that he played different from him. He would use the same moves but in his own way. It's cool that Charlie came back in Street Fighter 5. I say bring on Street Fighter 6 and I will show Mark and Johnny who is the real video game master. Ha 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 ha.
And I'm Angel, snooping as usual. Turn the beat back.
And that wraps up this episode of Video Game Masters. This is Mark Rodriguez.
Johnny Rodriguez.
And yeah, what can I say? It's been a long 10 years on YouTube since the original Video Game Masters 09 channel. I think it was called Mark Rodriguez 09. Before now it's the Johnny Rodriguez 09 with all the con videos and stuff. And yeah, it's been quite a journey. We started off in our old house in Mexico. They still see some of our old footage when Angel first appeared. Our apartment. Yep. And our apartment here in Vegas for a while, and then of course we kind of went our different ways, so you kind of see some episodes in his area, and then some episodes in my area, and you know, the parts when I come to visit him, when he comes to visit me, and things like that. And yeah, a lot happened. I mean, when you think about it, there was no such thing as a Nintendo Switch when VGM started, or PS4, or Xbox One. Like that's how it goes. There's no such thing as the newer games that you guys are seeing now. They didn't exist back then. And yeah, we were there when Insert Coin first started, when it was like the big spectacular and all that, and the Fremont Experience downtown.
And then when it died down.
Yeah.
Later.
And then when it died down, and you started like taking out
the regular sports bar there.
Yeah, regular sports bar. And yeah, we used to go there all the time. So yeah, any other last comment or memory or anything?
None that I can think of. The only things that Insert Coin did pave way for other places to kind of copy that, you know, concept.
Yeah. And hey, we finally got to do GameWorks. It took us 2 times, but we finally got to do GameWorks correctly, right? But yeah, so we'll see what happens. We'll see how long the episodes, how long Video Game Masters lasts. I don't know, 10 more years. Like, oh God, you know.
Well,
but,
one thing I want to add though is that, you know, it's also like, you know, it's, you know, we first started, of course, there's different video game systems, but it's also like, I guess like the lack of social media presence. Like back in the day, maybe it's just Facebook or whatever, but now you have Instagram, you have Facebook, you have, well, you know, YouTube, of course. You have all these platforms that didn't really exist that much back in the day, except for maybe YouTube and Facebook, you know. And MySpace, super back in the day.
Yeah, well, it's still around. It's just like for music people, it's like for musicians and stuff. It's not like it is back then. Now it's just like to keep track of musicians and music updates and concert updates. It's It's not anything like it was before, but it's still there. But anyways, guys, enough social media talking. That's it for this episode of Video Game Masters. Hope you guys enjoyed the 10th anniversary special, seeing all the familiar faces and all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time, and we'll see like how long our show lasts and how many more episodes we go. We're almost there. We're almost close to the big episode 100.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome. So see you next time. Thanks for watching.
See you next time.